We are moving on to adding and subtracting fractions. This is something that you would have talked about last year in 5th grade, and we're going to have a quick review over it so we can move on to multiplying fractions and eventually dividing fractions. Now, with adding and subtracting fractions, fractions and mixed numbers can be added and subtracted by following these steps. The very first thing you need to do, if they do not have a common denominator, is you need to find the LCM, so the least common multiple. When you do this, you're then able to use that to rewrite each fraction using this new denominator. Then you're going to add or subtract the numerator. Please make sure that you follow the sign. A lot of times we get an answer wrong just because we're not following the addition or subtraction sign. We'll leave the denominator the same and then we will simplify. So let's go over a few together. First here we have 2/3 plus 3/4. And the first thing I notice is that my denominators are not the same. I have a 3 and I have a 4. I need to find the least common multiple between 3 and 4. Now, you can go ahead and write these out. Could say 3, so we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and with 4, we have 4, 8, 12. Oh, so 12 and 12. Or you can work it out in your head, either way. 12 is our denominator, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down here at the bottom. And I'm going to think 3 times what gives me 12? 3 times 4. So I had to multiply by 4 to get 12, and I have to do that to my numerator as well. 2 times 4 is 8, and that is my new numerator. 4 times 3 gives me 12, and then I have to do that to my numerator. 3 times 3 gives me 9. And now I am going to add. My denominator stays the same. And my numerator, I just add. 8 plus 9 is 17. If you look, this is an improper fraction. And improper fractions mean that the numerator is larger than the denominator. To find or to change this into a mixed number, I divide. I think how many times can 12 go into 17? 12 can go into 17 one time, and I subtract, and I'm left with 5. 1 is my whole number, 5 is my numerator, and 12 is my denominator. So my answer is 1 5/12. Moving on to number 2, my denominators are not the same. I need to find the least common multiple between 7 and 3. And I always like to do my larger number first. 7, 14, 21. Oh, I know that 21 is a multiple of 3. 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. 21 is going to be my denominator. 7 times 3 gives me 21. Then I must do that to the numerator. 4 times 3 gives me 12. 3 times 7 gives me 21. And I must do that to that numerator. 2 times 7 is 14. Remember, when adding across, you keep the denominator the same and you add the numerators together. 12 plus 14 is 26. Once again, this is an improper fraction. I must divide to change to a mixed number. I write it like I read it. 26 divided by 21. 21 can go into 26 one time. I subtract. So 1 is my whole number, 5 is my numerator, and 21 is my denominator. My answer is 1 5/21. Number 3, 5/8 minus 1/12. I need to find a common denominator. 8 and 12. I have 12, 24, 36, 48. I have 8, 16, 24. There we go. 24 is going to be my common denominator. This is subtraction. So even though I've been doing a lot of addition, I have to still pay attention to the sign. This is subtraction. 8 times what can give me 24? 8 times 3. 5 times 3 then is 15. If I can get this to right. There we go. 12 times 2 is 24. So 1 times 2 is 2. And now I subtract. Leave my denominator the same. 15 minus 2 is 13. 13 24ths, that is a proper fraction. The numerator is smaller than the denominator, and it is already in simplest form. The numerator and denominator do not have any common factors. Now, mixed numbers can also be added and subtracted. Mixed numbers can also be added and subtracted. We're going to do a few of these for an example. Now with mixed numbers, right here, our denominators are the same. So let's add our whole numbers first. 2 plus 1 is 3. Our denominator stays the same. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So our answer is 3 4/5. Next, this is subtraction, but our denominators are not the same. So I'm going to go ahead and write out my whole numbers because we're not going to change those. And my least common denominator between 4 and 8 is going to be 8. So this one will stay the same. And this 4 times 2 can give me 8. So 1 times 2 gives me 2. I subtract my whole numbers. 4 minus 1 is 3. I subtract my numerators. 3 minus 2 is 1, and the answer is 3 1/8. Moving on to number 6. Once again, I have uncommon denominators. 2 and 3's least common denominator would be 6. I need to write my whole numbers as well. 2 multiplied by 3 gives me 6. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. 3 multiplied by 2 gives me 6. So 1 times 2 gives me 2. And now I add across. 4 plus 1 gives me 5. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. 6. Remember, the denominators are not added together. They stay the same. Another subtraction problem. We do not have common denominators. Between 5 and 3, common denominator would be 15. And like I said, you can write these out or you can just use your knowledge of your multiplication facts. 5 times 3 gives me 15. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. 3 times 5 gives me 15. So 1 times 5 gives me 5, and I subtract across. 2 minus 1 is 1. My denominators stay the same. 6 minus 5 is 1. So 1 1/15. Our last example, we have 5 7/8 minus 3 1/4. These do not have common denominators. The common denominator would be 8. We have 5 7/8. I did not have to change that one. And then 8 is here with my whole number 3. 4 changes to 8 by multiplying it by 2. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract my whole numbers. 5 minus 3 is 2. 7 minus 2 is 5, and my denominator stays the same.